Every business has those tedious tasks that drain your time and creativity. What if I told you there's an AI assistant that can handle customer inquiries, process data, and generate reports automatically? Today I am showing you exactly how to set up Claude workflow automation for real business use cases, starting with just 3 simple automations that will change how you work. What if your team is already wasting hours on tasks Claude could automate overnight? But here's what truly changes the game: Claude remembers everything. While others lose track, Claude maintains perfect context across all your business operations, your emails, your data, your SOPs, and executes flawlessly. This isn't about answering a single question. It is about managing an entire, intricate process from start to finish for you. Where other AI stumbles, Claude navigates. It doesn't just process requests, it analyzes complex scenarios, weighs options, and recommends the optimal business action. The key insight is its advanced reasoning transforms vague instructions into decisive, logical outcomes, automating critical decisions that typically require human judgment and time. Imagine a customer email filled with frustration. Claude reads between the lines, detecting not just the complaint, but the underlying emotion. It crafts a response that is genuinely empathetic, resolving the issue while strengthening the relationship. You are not just getting a reply, you are getting a partner that understands nuance and preserves your brand's voice effortlessly. Think of Claude not as another tool to learn, but as a universal translator. It speaks the native language of your CRM, project software, and databases. This means it connects to your existing stack instantly, turning complex automation from a coding project into a simple conversation you can set up in minutes. What if your most time-consuming tasks were already obsolete? Think of your inbox as an overflowing emergency room. Claude becomes your digital triage nurse, instantly reading each message and identifying the critical cases. The key insight is that not all requests are emergencies. What this means is that your team immediately focuses on what truly matters, while routine inquiries get handled automatically. Picture arriving to a perfectly sorted support desk. Claude has already read everything, understood context, and prepared thoughtful replies for you to approve. The pattern clearly indicates which conversations require your unique expertise and which can be resolved instantly. This eliminates that initial scramble, replacing it with calm, strategic action from your very first click. This workflow fundamentally transforms your team's first response. Instead of sorting through a chaotic queue, you step into a pre-solved environment. Claude analyzes every ticket, drafts precise replies for simple issues, and only surfaces complex cases with a full summary attached. The key insight is moving from reactive problem sorting to proactive decision-making immediately. Here's the impact: your entire team operates from intelligence, not just an inbox. Claude identifies urgency and patterns you'd otherwise miss, giving you a strategic briefing before a single ticket is opened. This shifts your day from fighting fires to leading your team with clarity. What this means is total control over your support operation. Imagine automating entire workflows, yet most never think beyond chatbots. Now, let's connect Claude to Google Sheets. The secret: Zapier. This link transforms static data into an active, intelligent layer. Claude can read from and write to your spreadsheets automatically. The key insight is it's not about data entry, it's about continuous processing and insight generation, saving you hours of manual review every single week. But how does Claude know when to start working? That's the game changer. Zapier can instantly send new form responses or database records straight to Claude as they arrive. What this means is you are no longer manually kicking things off. Your system wakes up and acts intelligently all by itself the moment new information appears. The key insight is that most email automation is completely blind. What this means is you are not just filtering emails, you are giving Claude the context to prioritize and act. The pattern clearly indicates a shift from reactive notifications to intelligent processing, where Claude decides which messages are urgent and which can wait. Think your automations are clever? Think again. The old way is like shouting into a void and hoping someone hears you. The pattern clearly indicates that the real breakthrough is creating a seamless, two-way conversation between systems. Here's what's really happening. Your data flows intelligently between Claude and your tools, building momentum instead of just sending isolated alerts. Forget ChatGPT, Claude is automating entire roles, not just tasks. Here's what changes when Claude builds these reports. It is not just summarizing data, it is interpreting trends, flagging critical anomalies, and framing insights for strategic action. This moves your role from data processor to decision advocate, freeing up the mental bandwidth you need to act on what the numbers actually mean. The key insight is this: your morning briefing shifts from a passive summary to an active strategic tool. Claude connects disparate data points to expose hidden correlations and root causes. This gives you a proactive narrative on why metrics are moving, not just what they are, positioning you to lead the conversation from the very first meeting. Imagine scrambling through spreadsheets every morning. That stops now. Claude analyzes yesterday's performance and writes a direct, insightful report for each team leader. You get tailored action items and key questions to ask, delivered before your first coffee. It is not a data dump, it is a preloaded briefing that turns you into the most prepared person in every room. This is strategic intelligence, automated. The system synthesizes raw data into narrative insight every single morning, flagging anomalies human analysts might miss. It does not just tell you what happened, it tells you why it matters and where to look next. You are no longer reacting to numbers, you are receiving a finished intelligence briefing that dictates the day's priorities. What if the busiest employee on your team never sleeps? Imagine a personal librarian who reads every incoming document, instantly finding the contract terms, invoice totals, and action items you need. This is your content pipeline. The tedious work of sifting through emails and PDFs vanishes, giving you immediate clarity. You no longer search for information, the critical details are delivered to you, organized and ready for the next step. Think about all the unstructured information you receive: emails, reports, support tickets. The real work isn't just reading them, it is extracting the specific, actionable data buried inside. This pipeline does that heavy lifting automatically, converting vague text into precise, structured records for your CRM or project tools. The chaos ends and operational clarity begins. Now consider this wasted time. After a long meeting, your entire team goes back to their notes, trying to align on what was decided and who owns each action. The pattern clearly indicates a massive coordination tax. What this workflow solves is the memory problem. It instantly delivers a single, authoritative record, so execution begins the moment the meeting ends. You think social posting is just copying and pasting? That's a brand killer. Here's what's really happening: every repurposed piece dilutes your voice. The key insight is this workflow clones your exact tone and framework, transforming a deep blog into a week's worth of authentic posts automatically. It's not distribution, it's a systematic voice. Stop manually answering repetitive business questions. Start automating them. Now, think about that one task you dread every morning. It is likely costing you crucial strategic time. What this means is that identifying even a single, lengthy daily routine unlocks your first automation win. The key insight is that freeing up just 30 minutes creates momentum to tackle larger, more impactful projects, turning wasted hours into your greatest asset. So, you have your task. Here's the first real secret: do not think in terms of individual steps. Instead, mentally reverse engineer the perfect outcome and work backward. What this means is that you identify every single handoff and decision point before you touch a tool. The pattern is clear: clarity on the perfect process is what guarantees your automation actually works. Here's the cold, hard truth: if your connections aren't flawless, the whole workflow shatters. You must treat these handoffs with absolute precision. What this means is meticulously configuring the data flow so every tool speaks the exact same language. The key insight is that a single misaligned field here will silently corrupt everything downstream. The final move is ruthless verification. Feed actual business data through the workflow, not placeholders, and scrutinize every output for alignment. This is where the illusion of automation becomes operational truth. Refine Claude's logic based on these real-world results, tightening instructions until the entire system runs with cold, mechanical precision. Now, with one reliable process running in the background, you begin to see a new horizon. A single automated thread pulls other inefficiencies into sharp focus. You realize this isn't about a single task, but about architecting a new operating system for your work. Each new integration builds on the last, creating a compounding advantage. Most AIs only answer questions. This one handles entire business tasks autonomously. Now, there's a tempting urge to go after the flashiest problem. That's a fast track to frustration and wasted weeks. The hidden strategy is to pick a task that's incredibly boring and repetitive for you. Automate that one thing first. It builds your confidence, proves the value instantly, and creates momentum for the bigger wins. So, what's the context you must provide? Describe your exact process. Detail your team, software, and desired outcome. Without that blueprint, Claude cannot build your solution. The more specific you are, the more precise its automation will be. This is how you go from generic output to a bespoke workflow that truly saves time. Don't hand over the keys completely. Even the most reliable automation should have a final checkpoint where a human approves crucial decisions or outputs before they go live. This safeguards quality, catches edge cases, and ensures accountability. The goal isn't to remove people, but to free them to focus on that critical judgment. This final mistake can silently destroy your automation's value. Vague instructions produce vague, inconsistent results. You must be surgical. Provide crystal clear prompts and concrete examples of good outputs. The system learns from your precision. Ambiguity here guarantees you'll waste more time fixing errors than the automation ever saved. Claude's unique capabilities make it ideal for multi-step business automation. Start with one simple workflow and expand as you gain confidence. Proper tool connections and clear instructions are more important than complex setups. Pick one repetitive task from your business this week and map out how Claude could handle it.